Hey, welcome to mosplays. Today I'm talking about Aeon of Sands, the trail with Marco Pedrana. Marco is one half of 2-Bit Kids, the makers of Aeon of Sands, which is available on Steam for Windows and Macintosh. Last I checked, it had a very positive rating on Steam. Thanks for taking the time to do this chat with me, Marco.
Thank you for inviting me, for having me.
Yeah,
Hi.
hi. Marco
I'm
and I
very bad
haven't
at this.
haven't talked at all before this, so it's like brand new for me as well. If you like, maybe you can tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm an artist since artist is a very English word, and I have no compunction of using it in English, but not exactly an artist.
I think you could call yourself an artist. I think
Uh,
that's fine.
okay, thank you. But it's a strange thing. I'm a commercial artist for since I think 20 years, something like that. And I did a stint of fine arts a few years ago, and then I stopped to do my first and only video game, Sense. And then I'm back working on illustration and comics, and recently even 3D as a generalist. I'm a very mixed bag, mixed thing, bag of mixed things.
Yeah. So you do comics as well.
Yeah, it's my first love actually, and
Oh, that's cool.
uh, yeah, I think that if I have to define what I do, is mainly about narrative, so comics and mostly through images. So comics and illustration are my thing, and
Okay.
the rest is the various accolades are exploration, more or less.
Right. And do you have anything out there that you would like to that you're willing to share, or?
If you're referring to comics, no, I'm actually working on something right now, but I mostly do it for myself. That
Oh yeah.
the
Okay.
things that I have published are I'm not interested in very much in them. Um, but I have an art station where there is something if you would like to see.
S-
I,
Sorry.
I'll
What's
send
that?
you the link.
Yeah, you send me the
There is
link,
a
and
portfolio station with, yeah, okay.
and I'll put it in the description as well. Is that if you'd like that? Um, and I'll have a look at it myself.
Yes, thank you.
Anyway, you're half of 2 Bits Kid. The other is Florian Fisher,
Yes.
I think. Can I ask, how did you two meet?
On a board about Green Rock, the sorry, the word escaped me now. The other blobber that was popular in 2012. I posted, I think, some pictures of avatars to mod the game with, and he liked them. He liked them and asked me if I wanted to do something with an engine that he was at the time working on, and
Oh,
that in
okay.
turn turned to be Aeon of Sands.
All right.
It,
That's interesting. I kind of would have figured you knew each other for a long time or something, but you basically met on the internet not long before the making of Aeon of Sand, so.
yeah, actually, it's you make it sound like it's recent, but for me, it is now 10 years ago.
Oh,
So yeah,
yeah,
I
so
know
yeah.
now. No, no, no. But I mean, now I know Florian for 10 years, and we're friends. But yeah, it was something very. It started as something very very odd and a one-off thing, and
Yeah,
yeah.
oh, I like that. Okay. And how did you guys? So he had already started sort of on like the engine for Aeon of Sands, or he didn't maybe know that it was going to be Aeon of Sands, but he was making like a dungeon crawler engine or something at the time.
Yes, exactly. He started for. Are you familiar with the game Blood Witch? It's a very old Amiga game, a blobber with four windows showing the world, and you had four different player that could, or four different characters that you could move at the same time.
No, sorry,
So
when I
it
around
doesn't
that
matter.
time, my parents didn't want to buy me an Amiga, so I still was rocking the Commodore 64 when everybody had an Amiga. But
Yeah,
yeah,
me too. I mean, I skipped that, but I loved the pictures in the magazines. You know, I had the magazine. I had not the computer at the time, so I feel you.
yeah,
But
I,
yeah, sorry. What I meant is that he was working on something that potentially had the four, uh, a blobber with four player playing in the same dungeon at the same
oh,
time
I
via
see.
internet. And
That's
the problem was
interesting.
that,
Huh.
yeah, it was a great concept, but the problem was that you had to displayed the other characters in any windows, you know, and so there any action the other animate the player, sorry, the character of the other player in any windows. So it would have been four times the work for me, and then we resized the scope to a single player dungeon crawler.
Right. Okay. And was there any particular inspiration for Aeon of Sands, or where did the idea come from?
It started with, for me, from Eye of Beholder, mostly.
Okay. Yeah.
And the inspiration was basically that, and for the gameplay and contemporary games for the kind of images or thematics, something like that. But the problem with those kind of games was for me, even back in the day, was that there was the story was kind of too flimsy, too lightweight, or something like that. And then we wanted something more complex, something more narrative in a way, and so that's what started as on the path. But as I seen your playthrough, at least a couple of episodes
Yeah.
of our game, yeah, we both agree that we missed the we strayed a lot from that purpose, that early purpose.
Oh, you,
So
you think
yeah,
so? Okay. Yeah.
no, no, please, you go.
Um. Well, I thought it was quite focused. To me, it felt very focused. The game. I mean, I got very frustrated with it at times, but I could see that you guys had a very clear, or it seemed to have a clear vision about what you wanted.
Yeah, the
Or
vision was clear. It's the execution that was not up to what we desired.
oh,
But
okay, I see. It doesn't come across
I
like
mean,
that to me. It comes across like you guys clearly knew what you wanted, and this was exactly what you wanted. That's kind of how it felt to me, but that's not the way you experienced it. Okay.
well, first, thank you, because that's a compliment there. But I mean, we knew early on that we would fall short. So we adjusted, and in the end, yes, we accomplished most of what we wanted. It's the way that we did that is not has not been okay exactly what we want. I mean, every game developing, either indie development or mainstream, is a balancing act. And
Yes.
the difference in because you do it yourself, but not only in the aspect that a single or a few developers have to wear many hats, but also in the sense that um, true independent developer lack any of the data, any of the boundaries that help you cater a game, a commercial game, through its completion. And so basically, for most of the development, in our case at least, you really improvise things. And
Mm.
the result of it, in our case at least, is that the game is focused on maybe the theme of the games, on the visual, but in some of the mechanics, but it's really unfocused as a product. As an overall product, you don't know exactly what you are doing with the game, you as a player, for much of the time. And the other problem is that, and that's my bad mostly, is the communication of the thing, the feedback to the player that's not really focused. So not only the product itself is not clear, but also we failed to convey it in a simple way. That's basically it. On the other side, we are as an independent developers, we had the luxury not to care too much whether our game would be first of all a commercial success. We knew that it would not be, even just 2 years in the development. We knew already.
Okay.
And the other thing is that we also could be free of the expectation about the game. I mean, we stay in the marketing phase what this is. If the players then don't like it, okay, it's okay. He can refund it on Steam or whatever, or he can not buy it, and it's fine. That's and it's not you cannot reason in this kind of way if you are working for a company, if you are a professional game developer. That's basically the
Okay.
short and the long of it.
Yeah. Hey, would you like to explore a sci-fi fantasy universe through the eyes of a humble taxi driver? Taxinaut is a game for PC with a huge open world galaxy where you can do just that. You can fly on planets over alien cities and landscapes, land at bars, diners, shops and many other weird and wonderful places. Take off into space and fly to different planets or other star systems. Find equipment and abilities to help you deal with the difficulties of navigating alien worlds. Taxinaut features a completable 30+ hour storyline about finding a friend lost in the galactic underworld. Taxinaut is now available on itch.io and Steam Early Access. That bit, the trail, did that get added to the title later, or was there like I get a sense that there maybe would have been multiple episodes or something, or
Yeah, at the very start, I had an idea for since we came from that prototype that Florian created. I had an idea to use 4 different characters, follow 4 different characters and follow different paths through a game, just not concurrently. First one, then the other, then the other, the third, and the fourth, etc. And there were twists and turns, and the game world would reflect the action of the previous characters, and you could potentially choose yourself freely which one of them use first. The problem was that the logistics of that were too complex, and we focused then on one single character. So that first idea that I had started with a plot through to the end was, in a sense, the pyramid. And then we scrapped it, and there was the trail. And yeah, I had an idea for a third episode, but it did not go past the mood board and a few ideas set.
Okay. And were there any other like ideas or things that were kind of left on the drawing board, or maybe things that were actually built but then you took out, or?
Yes, yes. There was, for instance, we had a mechanic in a few of our later level. I think there are even smaller rats skittering around the land, and they don't attack you. You could pick them up and use them as weapons, very very weak weapons, and then put them back. But I had an idea early on that we could incorporate this in the UI of the game, and I had created. I don't know what it's called in English. The things where rodents run in their cages. You know, the
Oh yes,
weird
a tread
running
wheel
wheel.
or a running wheel,
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
right. Exactly. And you could put there was one of the things in the UI. You could put one of the rats there, and it started running. And I have the animation for that, and parts of the gear for that. And that activated some things in UI itself. For instance, a different kind of mini map or stuff like that.
Oh,
And
I like that. Okay.
yeah, it was, and then there was my favorite, but Florian hated it because he was right. I mean, he's a technical genius, and he is a developer in his as his day job. So he has a very um, problem solution oriented
I
mind,
see.
and so
Yeah.
he kept asking me to define this kind of problem so he could these mechanics so he could incorporate it in the game, but and I couldn't very well for a long of our development time. But this what got because of that. My favorite thing was since Cetrani is not a brave hero, is not the kind of guy that you want in this kind of games. Maybe the UI could react to the pointer, which is your control, your player control, by, for instance, moving the icons to avoid you clicking on them if he was afraid or something like that. So, for
Huh.
instance, uh, you would have been forced to flee instead of fighting a monster or something like that.
Yeah. No.
Whatever.
That's kind of yeah. So the icon would move away from your pointer. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
interesting.
This
I
is the
I
kind
could
of
also
interesting.
see why Florian might have thought like, oh, I don't know about that now.
Exactly. Exactly. And also, this is the kind of thing that a player would hate, would positively hate. So,
Possibly,
yeah.
yes. That I don't know. Sometimes though, I don't know. Sometimes you just have to experience that little bit of frustration to also experience the good bits of a game, I think. But yeah,
But
that's
can I ask
interesting.
you,
Yeah.
did you experience things like that in your own game, Taxinaut?
In Taxinaut, I bet players do. I can't think of anything now. I'm sure there's plenty. There's a lot in there. Actually, that
No,
is.
no, I mean, I'm sorry, not as I mean, things that you wanted to fit in your, for instance, your user interface, and then you had to scrap because of, or
Oh,
maybe the game
okay.
is
Um,
Okay.
well, not really, to be honest, because I've done a thing with the user interface that everything with me is just another icon in the user interface. I
Yeah.
way at the beginning I decided I'm not gonna bother too much with the user interface. It's just gonna be a big grid of icons. That's it. And
Yeah, but
so,
I asked you because it was both interesting and intimidating for me. I seen your game a little bit, and
oh, did you? Okay.
yeah, it's interesting, and yeah, the interaction between player and any kind of game is fascinating to me, in the sense that we in the developers tend to reinvent the wheel very often, and often, at least in our case, again, not very smart, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, in the hindsight, something like Aeon of Sands was crazy today. I would not start something like that.
You wouldn't
To
do
Yeah,
Aeon of Sands again, that thing. Is-
not in the way that it would be a very different game, very smaller, very
like what in
focused.
oh, smaller. Right.
Yeah, and for instance, it would take away most of the user interface interaction, whatever. It would be basically it would be created on a contemporary engine and not on Lua. We not on Low. We had used this um, scripting language Lua, LUA 12,
Yeah, I'm
because
familiar with the name, but yeah. Is that
because
not
both.
was that problematic or?
No, not at all, but it's not very portable, and that's a bad thing. Bad
Oh,
thing.
okay.
Another is that we had to invent a lot of things to engine parts to basically the engine is made from scratch. If we used something, if back when we started something like Unreal or Unity were stable enough or well documented enough, it
Yeah.
would be it would have cut years of development. So yeah,
So what was the engine written in then? Just in plain C++ plus plus or something?
plus plus and Love libraries.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Oh yeah, that is
yeah.
hard. That is a lot of
Yeah,
work.
fortunately, I had not to deal with code, but I had to deal with Lua scripting, and yeah, it was informative. It was a learning experience, but hard for me at least.
Okay. Well, that's
Not of Florian. Florian is at home with this kind of
so
things,
it's a
but
complete custom engine. Huh. Yeah, that's
yeah.
interesting. Um, so yeah, maybe you can tell me a bit about the more about the time when you make. Because how long did it take to make it? I think it was 6 years. Am I correct?
Uh, on and off. I mean, we started in 2000. We met online in 2012. I started some concepting back then, but the production in 2013. And for me, at least, it was not exactly full time, but almost like I don't know. Sometime, some week I did 30 hours, sometime 60, sometime
Yeah. No, I
10
understand.
maybe,
Yeah.
but yeah.
But
And
sorry. Yeah.
up until 2018. But then there was one more year for customer support and bug fixing, something like that.
Right. But did you have like the story, and at some point you had the story and everything sort of written out, I guess? The whole plan of what
Yeah,
the limit of what you were going to do?
yeah. In a game like this, the difficulty is that you cannot tackle the actual level. So most of the gameplay, because you maybe have ideas to new things to populate your levels with when you have them, when you are inside them.
Yeah.
But we could not have that
Oh yeah. That is very
before the
complicated.
story. So the story was early on, and it was too much and too little at the same time because it was uh, enough to populate those kinds of dungeons that we wanted, but not enough for maybe side quests. And I had a bunch described, but not written because it would have been another year or more of development. So the story was plotted throughout in 2013, and in via charts. I use Lucid's chart, but whatever, any kind of
Okay.
close that does chart, it's fine. And then we used Twine
Oh.
for writing directly in Twine. I spent, I think, 2014 doing that,
Yeah.
and
Right.
yeah, the dialogues basically. And you noted correctly that the dialogues are bad. I mean,
Oh,
not bad in the
I
sense
didn't
that
mean like that. Well, you know, I get a
no,
bit
no, but I
I
do.
get a bit upset
I mean,
sometimes while I'm playing. You have to forgive me.
no, no, no,
They're
but
not
it's not.
bad.
I mean, yeah, I mean, the story is there, is not written very well, and it's too much. Basically,
I don't know.
that's
When I
the
read the reviews, a lot of people seem to really love the story part of Aeon of Sands and the whole language
it's
of it.
odd.
That they love it.
I don't know what to say. It's very odd to me because I cringe sometimes. And when I read what I've written,
Oh yeah,
English
I
is
have
not my
that with
first.
Taxina too. I ignore that. I don't think you can't make anything without feeling embarrassed yourself. I think you might as well not make anything then. I sometimes think. I mean, that's what I decided for myself because else I would never create anything if every time I got embarrassed about what I created, I deleted
It's a
it or something.
very wise. It's a very wise stance. In fact, I agreed to this interview because it's at least one year that I don't look. I mean, I seen the odd YouTube video maybe, but I don't. We don't. Me and Florian, we are not talking and doing anything about
Yeah,
Aeon of Sands now because we had to separate ourselves from that. And 1 year, okay, fine now.
yeah. That's actually what the story asks. Yeah, how do you look back on that time? It's like for me,
Oh,
I'm still in it, and it's slow and hard at times. I don't know
yeah.
how was it
In a
for you
way,
guys.
when we were doing it, it was very, very stressful for me because I was not experienced as Florian, and so I could not really um, make a plan for the time. I knew where I was. I knew what was needed to be done, but I could not say, okay, this will be done in a month, 3 months, 6 months,
Yes.
because every time I did that, something else happened, and I spent very many nights having difficulty to sleep because it was very stressful.
Yeah.
Florian was helpful in that, but yeah, you cannot go around it if you work that many hours on something and then you know that will be a commercial failure. You cannot have to be to feel bad about it, and there
Yeah.
was that. But on the other end,
Hmm?
it was great to have something specific to do every day.
Yes.
As an artist, I
Mm.
tend to go in the rabbit hole, you know. and disperse myself. That was great for me. It required discipline and solving problem, whatever the medium I'm using is basically what interests me. So that was
Okay.
great. That was great.
Did you change, like, over the time that you worked on it? Like, did you feel that your approach to doing that, did it change, or is there something there you can think of that you had a moment like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this different from now on, or?
Yes, definitions for every problem. When I even in my own artistic work, and after that, after Sands, I spent some time with a collective here in town where I live, doing a 3D game for uh, work training,
Yeah,
virtual
okay.
reality, that kind of crap. And it was interesting to me because I was the only there. They were experienced developers, and I was the only one who knew how to use it in the right way, or at least define the problems, or dividing a stretch of the things to do into tasks, or something like that.
Okay.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I came out of Neon Sense and having learned something. I mean,
Yeah. That's good.
yes, but many things. I'm sure that's true for every indie developer.
Yeah, I tend to, I don't
You
know. I seem
learn
to
a
fall
word.
in and out of it. I come to my senses and I've learned something and then I forget what I learned again, it seems. I don't know. But
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
I learned.
it's always like a piece of cloth on a table, and the piece of cloth is never covers completely the table,
Yeah.
and
Is
you
this
pull it in. Yeah,
is there something
sorry.
specific you can maybe think of? I mean, what do you think enabled you to finish you guys to finish the game? Is there something there or that you think is important?
Well, for one, we were and we are friends now, and I visited him and his family. He visited me here in Italy, and
Sorry,
so
where is he
we
where is he from?
Berlin,
Oh, Berlin.
Germany.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we made a commitment to each other. We start this, but we also finish it. And then
Right.
I
Oh, I
I
see.
wanted to do some. Yeah,
I
I
see
mean,
you had a commitment to each other. Yeah, I can see how that can work. Yeah, I don't have that.
yeah,
I have a commitment with myself. But yeah, that's
yeah.
not.
But on the other hand, you have the luxury not to have somebody, um,
Oh yeah,
some
yeah.
a partner or something like that, pretending stuff to you that you are not willing to do at that time. Maybe it will be better another day, but when you are a team, basically you have to work on other people's timelines. So that's the downside of it.
Oh yeah. No, that's true. Yeah. Well,
And then you have also a community now. So your commitment is to your community.
I suppose
I
it
mean,
is.
Discord or
I
whatever.
couldn't go and deny that right here on the interview. Yeah. Yes, it is. It is, people. I'm very committed. Um, so did you do, and what did you guys do to promote Aeon of Sands then?
Okay. I think that we basically managed, or I managed most of the marketing aspect, for good or bad, doesn't matter. Mostly for the bad. I had a Facebook page for it, and a Twitter page for it. Sorry, Twitter, Florian managed. I managed Facebook, and then we mailed we made a bit of research to about how to talk to new. journalists and what kind of journalists could be interested in our game, what kind of outlets, news outlets would be interested, and we basically mailed them, and a few of them were supportive, and there was a, I mean, we had a we had an article on rock paper scissors from one of the main writers, which praised the intro of the game and then said nothing about the game. But it was great because I mean it was great praise in the case. Maybe you could read between the lines and say, okay, the game is not gonna cut it, but it's okay. And then we made a bit of networking at Maze, which is a festival in Berlin in 2014, and we kept in touch with the people we met there and afterward, because I mean Berlin is a capital city. Here I live in the outskirts of the outskirts of the outskirts of a town. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I haven't been to
um,
any things like that. Hmm. Sounds
you
good.
should, if you can, if
Yeah.
you are able to, you should. It's very energetic. It's interesting. Amazing. Berlin is not only it's not a fair where you simply show your stuff. It's also, or at least was, I don't know if it's still going on, but it's a bit like, I don't know, a Blender conference or something where you have workshops and people speak, and it's very interesting.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Yeah. No, I'm often no, just here. And how do you feel about Steam as a home for your game? Are you happy with that, or anything to say
Um,
about that? Or
I like the fact that the Steam exists. I mean,
yeah,
in 20 years ago, 30 years ago, if you were an indie developer, you had no other choice but searching for a publisher, which that at the time were very um, not accessible. I mean,
yeah,
uh, there were very few, and the ones that released the game released the only better game than the kind of more polished game than the kind of polish that an indie developer can afford. So nothing bad about Steam on that aspect. What I don't like about Steam is it a bit uh, cluttery and difficult. I mean, even now, 5 years since the release of the game, uh, we are required to make edits on the capsules of the capsules are images, promotional images of a game, and they are many, and we have to do it if we want to fit in their uh, sales events, something like that, and that in itself is a day of work
yeah,
every time, and that kind of stuff. And also, I would have liked a bit a bit more of maybe a different policy on sorry if I forget the name on reviews. If a guy has the game for an hour and then refunds it, he can still put bad reviews, and I'm not sure if that's nice. I mean,
yeah,
whatever.
right.
It's not a problem, you know.
Yeah, the review system. Yeah, like he plays it for an hour and leave a bad review. Yeah,
No, one thing I have against the system, not Steam, but the system of the indie developers is that most of the people that have uh, advice or videos or stuff, articles on whatever. And every time it seems like that they are discovering hot water or something like that is based on bad or biased data. And every time they get traction, they get bad informations around. It's not healthy. For instance, when we started, there was an article promoting saying if you are an indie developer, you have to go for it. It's everything is good, whatever, because the median of sales on Steam in 2012, that was the time of the article, is 30,000 copies. Okay, what does it
Right.
mean? It means that there are, I don't know, a million of games that sell nothing and a couple that sell a couple of millions copies. That doesn't mean anything. Okay, this is a very simplistic and small example, but that's the kind of communication there is around. And yeah, if we were more informed at the start, we could have avoided some very big mistakes that we did, even just only in communicating the game to the players.
Hmm.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, maybe I'm saying boring thing. I don't want
No,
to.
no, no, not at all. No, I'm very not boring. Uh, yeah, you were talking about that earlier. I don't think the game is unclear or anything. Well, I'm trying to think back now at what. Yeah, I don't think it's particularly unclear or anything.
Uh,
The dungeons are just sometimes hard until you realize what a big role what is it, illusionary walls play. Then it becomes a bit less hard, and you realize I just have to check every wall. But
yeah, but that's punitive. It's not clear. That's punishment. I mean, we
yeah.
wanted to have a challenging game, but maybe there could have been different way to go about it to make it challenging in different ways, or
Okay.
maybe clever puzzle. We were constrained in that by the engine itself. I mean, it's a 2D pseudo 3D game. It's the possibilities are limited,
To be
but
honest with
still,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
To be honest with you, when I, for example, see the mechanic that you guys use, where sometimes you can't go back to a certain location, you can only do it once, and then you can't go
yeah.
back in. That's kind of brilliant. In a way, I wish I would have done that with Taxinot. It cuts out a lot of difficulty. You don't have to save anything. There's no state that can get mixed up because you can't go back to the place. And
Yeah,
it seems like
that's useful.
seems like a very little thing for from a player perspective. You just kind of go, oh yeah, you accept it very quickly, and it saves the developer a lot of work in a way. But also makes the game more
Mm,
interesting because it's more mysterious. You can go back to it in a new game and try that way
yeah, I
again.
I
You
think.
can't sort of well, you can save Comet, I suppose. You can if you want, obviously. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but I think that for that make a lot of sense for instance, I don't know, maybe a shoot 'em up kind of game where you could release the memory and forget part of the world because they have already been explored, and the player would not care. It makes sense instead to it makes sense in a narrative game because you want some kind of things to happen before other kind of things, and etc. I don't want to
yes.
get too much into detail here because I don't want to make errors. I mean, it's a few years now, but and that's fine. That's what we wanted. But from the player point of view, you are limiting their agencies, or at least some kind of players' agencies. I
Mm,
seen very early on videos from, I mean, even on the release, or even maybe before the release, people complaining that they could not steamroll through the game they had to think about stuff or check walls, as you said, or whatever. And okay, maybe they were not our kind of players, but we somewhere made the mistake not to be clear to those kind of players that that game was not for them.
Yeah.
For instance, there are many people who say that I play dungeon crawlers, so this is the game for me. But Sands is not exactly a dungeon crawler.
No, yeah,
Crawler.
I thought that too when I bought it. I thought it was like Might and Magic 2 or something.
Yeah.
But I quickly realized, no, this is not such a game. This is a very, you make your path and you end the game and then maybe you try again, kind of a thing. But yeah, it's not. Yeah, I realized that, I think, but
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy when you are a new developer because these kind of things are are not clear. You don't know them before you made the mistake. I mean, maybe if you go to a school, I don't know. I didn't a game development school. I don't know, but yeah.
oh yeah, that
But
makes me. Yeah.
sorry, no.
No, I was going to ask a question, but go on.
I think that when you beat the game, you managed to arrive back in Pantella early. You are one of the few. I mean, not many uh, playthrough that I've seen do that.
Oh, is that
You
right?
managed to, yeah, yes.
I didn't realize. I only realized at the end I got a screen with statistics. I think it said something like you have uncovered 10 out of 60 locations or something.
Yeah, because if
I
you
was like, what?
based yeah. But okay. Many of those were simply similar levels. Maybe a few things changed with maybe different monsters, different conditions.
Okay.
Others were actual large dungeons, large areas. For instance, the camp in the Kovas camp where the nomads are, as if I recall correctly, uh, 13 different maps, and a few of them with additional states, additional branching states on. But yeah, in your case, I'm not sure what decisions took you there, but you exited from Kovas camp with some kinds of flag decided. Okay, and so when you reach the Pantella back, you actually go up to the tree and then back down. If you at a different path, you would arrive at Pantella, but you could have not go up to the tree, and you had instead a couple of different level. Sorry, an additional maze underground and different levels, different versions of the levels that you experienced, the
Oh,
six,
wow.
five that there are.
Right. So in a way, I was kind of lucky.
Yeah, not lucky, but I mean different. Yeah.
Yeah. I never solved. I went back to one of the dungeons, some caves. Yeah, how do I describe it? They're all caves, obviously. Anyway, I went back to one afterwards. I kept the
Yeah.
saving
I
of
know
it, and I
one.
tried to, but it became so difficult that.
Yeah, it's I know what you are referring to because I've seen that video. Is the most complex maze that I did, and the mistake there is that I made it an obligate passing through the map. If I had made that optional, maybe not many people would have complained about it.
So
Mm.
can you finish that dungeon without visiting other
Yes,
locations? You can. Yeah. Okay.
yes, you can. But
Right.
the fact that when you exited, you cannot re-enter it
Yeah.
made it's frustrating. Not one of my good decisions.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. I kind of like. I've kind of learned to like that you guys did it that way. I'm kind of impressed by that, to be honest. But sometimes,
Yeah,
yeah. Anyway,
thank you,
you're saying
thank you. But
don't. You're saying don't do that in your game. It's not a good idea.
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you need any developer needs to be sure that
Okay.
the way that is doing something is the simplest and most clear, most communicable way that it can do it. At least if it's a indie developer, because the stakes are higher. I mean, if you fail, you failed with a lot of time on your spent on a thing, and you maybe don't get paid at all. While
Yeah.
if you work for a company, okay, less freedom, but at least a roof on your head. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose. So, have you any further ambitions now in game development after Aeon of Sands?
Yeah. Well, I would like to work in a company, even a medium small one, but with with a structure and everything, where I don't have to contribute that much to the to development, because I'm not a good designer. I'm a decent artist, not a good designer, not a good writer either. So that is close for me. But something in game development, yeah, sure. I like it. I love to solve problems. So
What did you create the art? What did you use to create all the like the wall tiles and all that stuff in?
um, okay, mostly it's Photoshop. Um, I create the tiles. If you go to I sent you a link. There is
Oh yeah,
on
yeah.
my on my station. There is a page dedicated exactly to that. Let me find it. Just a second.
Sorry, I'm afraid to click anything here on Discord in case it disconnected.
Okay,
So
then don't. I will just describe what I see on screen.
yeah.
Um, it's I created a set of actions which are an automation in Photoshop to to cut and paste and recombine the walls that I created in
Oh, okay.
um, high resolution. Sorry, and that um, was the basis for the walls. Then manually, I did a bit of pixel art still on them, and yeah, that's it. But each um, each part of these assets, these things that I did, was then fed to GitHub uh, um, and defined there and encode in Lua script, as I was saying. So basically, half of my time on the assets was working on the assets themselves, and half was definition, so code in script code in a huge pile of text file.
Yes.
And yeah, but yeah, basically Photoshop and some stuff I did on paper, pen and paper,
Yeah,
and
like
then
when you see the credits, you see sort of what seems to be sketches of pictures that are used in dialogues and scenes. Is that right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Or were they like originally
Um,
on paper, or were they in Photoshop? Or
no, most of the dialogue scenes I started on paper, but since I'm at my most my core is drawing with a pencil. Those were very simple sketching in pencil and paper on paper on I think 3 inches wide slots of
Oh, I
papers.
see. Yeah, yeah.
Then standard
They
and
were actually
colored
quite small compared to how they showed on the screen.
Yeah, and that was another mistake, but that's not relevant to the game. It's just relevant to the afterwards. Because if I made them larger, if I painted on larger size stuff, I could then have printed that. I did an
I see.
exhibition in 2018. I would have liked to use that on there, but I couldn't. So
Okay. Right. So, is there anything else you would like to say or something you'd like to plug? I think I'm kind of running out of questions.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I was happy to chat with you, and your questions were interesting. So thank you for your time. I don't have any plugs or at the
Okay.
moment. I mean,
No, thank
I'm busy working on stuff. So
yeah. No,
thank
thank
you.
you very much for your time. I mean, I was very interested in
And
hearing. I love hearing about how other people uh, struggle, I suppose, like I do
yeah, but it's fine.
with this field. Okay.
I wish you the very best for your game, and Taxing Out is it's very interesting. Remind me going around the galaxy in Frontier again
All right. Thank you.
30 years ago. So
Yeah. Right. Well, thank you then, Marco. I guess I'll close the episode then. Thanks for
okay,
anybody who was watching, and see you later then.
bye.
So yeah, okay. Bye, Marco. Well, I'll stay around on the Discord for a sec, or well, whatever you like.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah.
I'll stop the
Sorry.
recording now then.